Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is your general collective reading for February 2026. What I'm going to do is pull a 9-card spread for each one of you guys, and there are timestamps in the description box below if you want to skip ahead to your zodiac sign and you don't have to watch the whole video. So remembering that these are general collective readings, please take what resonates and leave the rest. Don't try to make it fit. You may check out one of my other videos. If this one isn't your story, you may find yourself there. So starting off with Taurus, took me a second there to go, what am I doing again? Starting off with Taurus, we have 3 cards for your recent past, 3 cards for your current energies, and 3 cards for your incoming energies, Taurus, and 1 card for your conscious energy. That's the energy on the table that you are bringing and that you are aware of. And from the bottom of the deck, your subconscious energies, 10 of Wands in the reverse. That would be your subconscious energy, the energy that you are operating under, but you may or may not be aware of, probably aren't because it's subconscious. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Conscious energies, Temperance in the reverse. Subconscious energies, 10 of Wands, also in the reverse. Okay, that's some pretty heavy energy you're opening there with. Those are both regime changes, climate changes. Let's start with the subconscious. Subconscious energy, that 10 of Wands in the reverse is putting something down, something that has been, you may have been operating in a very heavy environment where you may have felt that you were carrying more than your fair share of the load, perhaps doing everything by yourself. And subconsciously you're putting it down. So you may not be aware of it. And I don't think you are quite yet, although it's about to, because your conscious energy being Temperance in the reverse here, that's about your almost like your physical, what am I looking for? Parasympathetic nervous system. That's about your body, how you do things, how it feels to you. Not exactly the same as your feelings, certainly not your thoughts, but it's like your gut reaction to things. And something is just not functioning. You may be trying to blend. Let's see what else we got on the table here. Well, at this point, you're either trying to blend something within yourself, make something cohesive inside yourself that is not coming together, and or you could be trying to do it with for some of you, it'll be an internal process. For others of you, you will be literally trying to blend something, some sort of situation with another energy, another party. Could be work, could be an actual relationship. But either way, whatever it is, isn't coalescing very well. And you are getting tired of it, and you're at least subconsciously just about ready to put it down. Okay, that sounds heavy and crunchy, but it's actually if you've ever been in that situation, if to the Taurus I'm talking to, if you really are in that situation, you might not be super happy to hear that, but at the same time, there's a sense of relief because nobody that's carrying these sorts of energies internally or externally is completely unaware of it, and it is not comfortable. So we're looking at an uncomfortable Taurus at the moment. In the center of the deck, we have the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. That's another card that speaks of need, abandonment, being left out, coming to an end. It may be what you were hanging on to and what you've been trying to blend. You may be coming to a realization that it's not worth it to continue. Okay, so let's look at what got us here. In your recent past, we have death in the upright, the Knight of Cups in the reverse, and the Lovers in the reverse. So when I started talking, I hadn't actually looked at those cards. I don't know if you guys can see in the background my dog trying to make herself comfortable there. That's Pixie. Pixie, sit down. Pixie, hey, Pix, that's enough. That's enough. Sit down. We're doing a reading. Okay. Sorry about that. But okay, recent past with the death in the upright, the Knight of Cups in the reversal, and the Lovers in the reversal. Uh, this is, I would guess for some of you, it's a relationship, and it's a significant relationship. It's something that when the six of when any six, and this is a major six, this is the Lovers, but any six, all the sixes talk about uh, cohesion, unity. That's why it's the Lovers, and that can be internal too. It doesn't necessarily have to be with another person, although definitely for some of you this is with another person, and it's a card of harmony, and not just harmony, not small harmony, harmony that circulates. Okay, so if you think about the Two of Cups being a connection, and the Four of Wands being the actual construct stands, the the connection on one side, a fully connected person and another fully connected person come together and make a solid connection, a four. A six is the solid connection that is able to circulate freely and have growth. And it looks like in your past, there was an attempt at a connection of some sort that is there's an ending, there's a break, there's a rupture. I don't see a lot of rumination about it, actually. And that death is how you open. So this is in the past, firmly in the past, but you still have a lingering Knight of Cups, which can be an unstable affection, affinity, unstable heart attached to the Lovers in reverse. So that is the construct itself. So there's a little bit of lingering. I don't actually see sorrow straight up as much as just affinity. So if this was a breakup, it looks like it was quite possibly mutual and quite possibly amicable. Like it doesn't look bitter as much as it's like, look, we tried, but you're coming from, what is it, men are from Mars, girls are from Venus, something like that. We're different planets, and we just can't pull this together, even though we still like each other. Okay, so moving into current energies, again, I'm going to open with that Five of Pentacles, which is a sense of loss, abandonment. So for the Taurus, I'm looking at, and let's face it, when Taurus invests in something, it doesn't invest at all. Taurus invests for long term or nothing. Okay. And so the Taurus I'm looking at did invest in typical Taurus fashion, trying to build something long term, and it looks like it just didn't gel. I don't see a bad guy, it just didn't gel. That Five of Pentacles in the reverse there is flanked by the Four of Wands. It's funny I mentioned that earlier. So our Lovers connection here, although you did connect as just the two of you, it couldn't expand into the type of construct wherein both parties can grow and move freely. So it looks like there was a break. We have our Four of Wands in the upright there is now reversed. So it's resourced from a limitation perspective, and it's also flanked by the World in the reverse. So no new construct, no new paradigm, no new operating system is has resulted from that attempt to bring these energies together, to mix these energies together. It's all upside down. So, and it looks like you're still going through it, even though you opened with death. There's residual, so you're still working your way through it. But the good part is that I don't see any animosity on either side here. Just a simple case of your way of doing things and my way of doing things are just not compatible. So good on you. Very mature. It's actually very impressive. If everybody broke up as cleanly as this, we would have a lot fewer keyed cars in the aftermath. All right. So going into your incoming energies, we have the King of Cups in the upright. So that's good. That's your emotional cohesion is coming back. And the flanked by the Knight of Swords. So you're taking some action, moving forward mentally. I don't think you were particularly mentally blocked. It was more of an emotional block and more of maybe a physical block. And again, Taurus feels things in the body. You were very comfortable or wanting to get comfortable, hoping to get comfortable, planning to get comfortable, couldn't get comfortable. But so your mental energy has took a moment, you took a breather there, but incoming there, I do see movement, maybe some new ideas coming in, so maybe some new communication. Your heart space does balance out. But you're ending on the Three of Cups in the reverse. So that's support sourcing from limitation. I'm going to go out on a limb here because for some of you, you may have an opportunity by the end of the month to maybe forget your troubles with someone else. And just be careful about that because some of you might end up in a flash in the pan type situation. And some of you may end up feeling, because what I'm looking at with the Three of Cups in the upright here is community support. It can even be a party, but reversed next to the King, it's a emotional. You're emotionally balanced, but the temptation to don't screw with that is what I'm saying. If you are the Taurus that's feeling emotionally balanced at the end of the month, who has an opportunity to do something they wouldn't normally do, just think about it. Think about it, because if you do, just remember that the party needs to end at some part. If you do go on it, if you do. So that's what I got for you. Hope this helped. And now we are moving on to our Virgos. Virgo for February 2026. 3 cards for your past, 3 cards for your current energies, and 3 cards for your incoming energies, as well as 1 card for your conscious energies that you're bringing to the table, that you're aware of, and 1 card from the bottom of the deck for your unconscious energies that you are not aware of. So what do we got, Virgo? In your recent past, ooh, 7 of Swords reversed. Okay, and that is flanked by the Fool in the upright and also the 9 of Pentacles in the reverse. In your current energies and center of the deck, we have the 6 of Pentacles in the upright, flanked by another 6 of Swords. So a lot of moving on energy, getting your house in order energy in your current situation. Ooh, and the Ace of Swords. So we got truth. Current looks really good, which is great because your past energies gave me a minute, gave me a pause. The 7 of Swords is a card of duplicity, particularly when it's sourcing from a limited polarity, when it's in the reverse. So we're going to get into that for a second. I may have to clarify that. We'll see. And closing out the month of February 2026 for our Virgos, we have the Page of Swords in the upright. That's a lesson learned. The 8 of Swords reversed and the Queen of Swords reversed. Okay, that's learning a lesson, because the Queen of Swords reversed is you ain't quite there. All right. In your conscious energies, 9 of Wands in the reverse. Okay, so consciously you're relaxing a little bit. You're not bracing. Sometimes that's throwing in the towel. Let's see what you were bracing from. Oh, and in your subconscious energy, we have the Page of Cups in the reverse. That is vulnerability, consequences. Virgo. This is kind of reminiscent of someone else's. But I think that was Pisces from January. Not 100% sure. But okay. So consciously, you are relaxing a little bit. Not quite here. You have guarded, but it's hurting you mentally. You have a position, a guarded position. These are my 8 wands. I got them myself. They're mine, and I am standing firm. There is a nice fertile green field behind there, and you can see his little green boots. So he's still growing. In the reverse, he is not bracing. That's the word I'm going to look for. This is braced. Okay, what's coming at me next? Not bracing. So it looks like consciously you are relaxing a little bit. Subconsciously, though, there's still a feeling of vulnerability. Could be a feeling of, this card is often associated with apologies. It is associated with shyness. It's an immature, and I don't just mean immature, like I'm not dissing anybody. I mean young, youthful expression of openness and love and heart space. But when it's reversed like this, it's got fear attached to it. And when I look in your past energies, Virgo, we have this 7 of swords in the reverse. So this is doing things your own way. Sometimes it's an outright lie, but in the upright, it's expansive. So you might be keeping things to yourself. You might be saying one thing to somebody, but actually doing something separate. And before everyone freaks out, let's go back to the last job you quit. You may have decided that you were going to leave your job 3 months before you actually did, but you showed up to work every day, didn't you? And you didn't go and tell your boss, hey, in 3 months, I'm bugging out. And that doesn't make you a bad person, but it can be strategic. It can be seen as selfishly strategic, even though it can also be seen as just self-preservation. You got to do what you got to do. But in the reverse, sourced from fear, the odds that this is some sort of duplicitous action that you're not particularly proud of are much higher, because fear, of course, doesn't give us the confidence to do the right thing. Sometimes we do the easiest thing. So I think I might be looking at, or at least some of the Virgos I'm looking at here might be feeling a little bit guilty, but you might be relaxing a little bit because the fallout from it is either not as bad as what you thought, or not forthcoming, or at least hasn't landed yet. That 7 of swords in the reverse in your past is flanked by the Fool in the upright. So there was a new opportunity, a potential that I think you took, but you didn't disclose it to all the shareholders. And attached to that is the 9 stakeholders in the because they're, unless you betrayed yourself, there's a sense of betrayal, which is not always an action. Sometimes it's I just didn't mention it because I didn't want to get into it. Because attached to this, the fear, I think what was causing you to behave in this duplicitous manner is most likely this 9 of Pentacles that's attached to it, which is earned independence with fear attached. So, and that's right next to this guy here, and that's probably what he was protecting. Although you're releasing it now, but there was some threat in the past that you may not have handled quite as above board as looking back on it. Hindsight is 2020. As looking back on it might have you do if you had it to do over again. All right. Good news. In your current energies, we have the Six of Pentacles in the upright, which is a more balanced give and take. This is a card about reciprocity. This is a card about a relationship that is stable and there is movement. There is reciprocity. As we all know, anybody that's ever been in a bad marriage or witnessed a bad marriage, you can have something that is unbelievably stable, never going to change, but there's no reciprocity. That would be a four in reverse or a four with a devil attached to it. In this situation, we have reciprocity. So that's good. That's movement. It's opportunity for growth. It's a little sense of freedom as well as obligation. That's a nice balanced energy that you're moving into in right now. Actually, that's your current energies. And attached to that is the Six of Swords. So that's mentally moving on. And attached to that is the Ace of Swords. So that's your eureka moment, your truth moment. So whatever happened in the past, either you got away with it scot-free, which some of you did, and good on you, and other ones of you have weathered the storm or wherever fallout, which I can't see yet. Though we'll look into your future here, but you're feeling in a good place. Like, okay, that's done, that's dusted, it's survived, and we can move forward with truth and honesty and all those good things. Now, moving into your upcoming energies, we have the Page of Swords. This is new information being brought on board, being considered, data, scanning the field, getting information. And attached to that, I really like this for you because attached to that is the Eight of Swords in reverse. So that tells me these two in conjunction, there's some limiting beliefs, pardon me, that you must have had that you are releasing. And once those limiting beliefs have been released, new information, new options open up. Things that maybe were there before, but you could not see before because you had limiting beliefs are now, oh, look at that. Look at that. That's a new direction I might be able to go in. New things to think about and new ways to think about them. So that's really exciting. You do finish the month off, though, with the Queen of Swords in the reverse. So the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Swords in the upright asks literally, is this true? Okay. Is this true? In the reverse, she ain't convinced. Doesn't mean that she's not going to be convinced, but all the information has either not come in yet or has not been fully processed yet. So this situation, I think right now in your present, you're feeling pretty good about it. You feel like the air has been cleared. You learned some lessons. You have, it's tilted your orbit a bit, maybe opened your orbit a bit, but there's something left. I'm sorry. The Queen says you're not quite done. This Ace of Swords there in your current energy saying, okay, we got to the truth of the matter, and that's how we're going forward. She's a bit skeptical. Okay. So for some of you, this will be a niggling feeling, mental. I'm not so sure about that internally. And for others of you, it will be the other party. So you might have some convincing to do. But I think you learned. I think you learned from that past situation, whether you got away with it scot-free or not, or whether there was some fallout. It'll be different for all of you, but you definitely learned something from it. So I think you're in pretty good situation to move forward and figure that out. I'm just going to clarify our Queen here. Why is she hesitating? The Moon in reverse. She doesn't have clarity yet. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. So give it a minute. By the end of the month, you're going to need to rest on this situation a little bit more because you either don't have all the information or you haven't finished processing it all. So that's what I got for you, Virgo. That actually sounds like if I was going to issue a challenge to a Virgo, wait and think about it a little bit longer is the challenging I'm issuing. And every Virgo I've ever met is down for that kind of challenge. So good on you. Okay, next we're moving on to Capricorn, one of my favorite signs. I love you guys, our builders. So Cappy, February 2026, 3 cards for your past. We have Page of Pentacles in the upright, awesome. Judgment in the upright. Ooh, and the 8 of Cups in the upright. Interesting, okay. Current energies, we have the Hermit in reverse, center of the deck, flanked by, oh dear, the Tower. And that's right under Judgment. Okay, this is going to be a big month. All right, buckle up. And also, flanked by the 2 of Pentacles. So that's, and in reverse. All right, so that's change, possibly chaotic change of running 2 parallel systems. Judgment. You open with judgment. So you open with the decision, and then the rest of this looks like it's going to be the fallout. All right. Big month. Okay. And incoming energies. Ooh, we have the 5 of Swords in the reverse. The 4 of Wands in the reverse, and the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. Okay, there's definitely 2 energies on this table. And there's definitely a rupture. And you, in typical Capricorn fashion, are sorting it out. And it looks like this is the month that you will be sorting it out in the physical. All right. Okay, conscious energies that you are aware of. 7, another 7. Geez, jeepers. We have the 7 of Wands in the reverse. It's thrown in the towel. And it's the way that I lay my cards out, which is a little bit unusual probably, but it's right next to the that 8 of Cups in the upright. That's emotional disconnection, and I'm not going to defend it anymore. Oh dear. And at the bottom of the deck, the subconscious energies, yikes, this the bottom of the deck, your subconscious energies that are on the table that you're bringing to the table and operating under, but you may not be aware of, is the 2 of Cups in the reverse. So that is a broken connection. A broken connection that you're no longer defending. It's odd. You would think that the no longer defending part would be subconscious. If you'd think that would be reversed. So I'm thinking that you have tapped out. You may just be, if this was, okay, for some of you, this is going to be a personal relationship, not just a work relationship. It's going to be a heart space relationship. Not all of you, but some of you it will be. And some of you, it's a relationship with yourself, okay? But for the ones that I'm talking to right now, if it is a personal relationship, you might be in a phase where you come home from work on time, but you immediately turn on your laptop. You're not having any conversation. You're not checking in with each other because subconsciously, you know the connection is broken, but you haven't quite faced that yet. But that is bubbling up. And in fact, I think it's leaking into your everyday life at this point. Past energies, we have Judgment in the upright. So that's a crossroads. That's a decision for, and not a low level decision. That's a high regime decision. I am not going to live my life that way anymore. I am now going to live my life this way. Sometimes, oftentimes, people make that decision. I'm not going to live my life in this way anymore, but they have no plan because it's sourced from fear. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm in a panic. I know I'm not going to do that anymore, which is great. That's progress. Don't get me wrong. In this case, though, I think you have thought long and hard about it because in your past, we have Judgment in the upright, I'm not going to do this anymore, sourced from because I want more, because from an expansion, not fear. Actually, it's expectation almost, um, instead of fear. That's a good thing. Uh, Next in line, that immediately allows our Page of Pentacles to come in. This is, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. So what am I doing? What does my world look like? The old one's out. What's on deck? Okay, so that's the curiosity, of what your world looks like post that decision. And attached to that, we have the Eight of Cups, which is emotional detachment from these cups here to go find more. For many people, this is the start of a spiritual journey, looking within to go and find more. That's why you see the moon here. And the sun's still there, but it's an eclipse. Um, and for other people, it is literally putting down a relationship, emotionally detaching, at least, even if it's not a physical detach. Although I do see a physical detach here. But we'll get into that. But so there's the decision made, the new paradigm investigation. What is it? What is that even going to look like? And then the emotional commitment to release the emotional connection to the old to move forward into this new before it's even fully defined, which is the way that we move forward in life, right? You know where you were. Some of us can know where we were. Some of us know where we are. Some of us don't know either of those. I've definitely been in both of those boats. I don't really understand where I've been, and I don't really understand where I am. But it looks like here you understand where you've been. You understand, or are beginning to understand where you are. You don't really know where you're going, but you have some confidence about it. Small confidence, enough to keep moving. All right. Going into your current energies, we have the Hermit in reverse, and he's flanked by the Tower, and the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So, had this Hermit been upright, I would have said that you have taken in all of these lessons and learned something from it and completed that learning to the point where you could actually lead others. But that hasn't happened yet. You're still processing. And moreover, there are some aspects here that you are not, that you haven't really been able to look at. When you did this judgment here, you might not have fully looked at everything because this Tower only shows up when there are, let's call them pillars, literal pillars in your life, towers in your life, constructions that are fundamental to who you think you are and how you operate, that are going to be removed for you if you do not remove them yourself. And I think for the Cappy I'm looking at, you are not removing them all by yourself. So you may be in for, and actually this is in your current energy, so you may be in the midst of it, and it's knocking you off kilter. You may find yourself in a situation where you're running parallel lives for a while. You have the old operating system still working and the new operating system starting to come in, and that's a lot of chaos, and that is instability. And it looks like you're going through it. It looks very necessary. It looks like something that is moving you toward growth and better horizons, bigger horizons. Not that there was anything wrong with the horizon you're leaving, you've just outgrown it. And it's hard. And it's hurtful. And it's still going to happen. Okay, incoming energies. We have the Five, more disruption, unfortunately. I'm very sorry. We have the Five of Swords. So this is mental exhaustion. It's in reverse. So the break has happened and you don't want to fight about it anymore. It kind of mirrors this. I don't want to defend anything anymore. and I don't want to fight about it anymore. Attached to that is a structural break of a cohesion, not just a connection, but a cohesion. This is often called the marriage card. In the reverse, I mean, some of you will just be going under some kind of pretty heavy stress, but for many of you, it actually has broke, and you're dealing with the aftermath of it. And for others of you, you're right in the midst of it. You finish, I mean, you start off this spread with judgment, crossroads, decision-making time, and you end with the Ace of Pentacles, non-viable seed. You will not, oh, I just got a pretty big ring there. There is, in the upright, this is an opportunity to build something. It's just the potential of something in the 3D, something real, something tangible, something that you can hold in your hands. And this is not viable. Sourced, it's a no. So you may, by the end of the month, I think you're actually, this judgment decision that you started out thinking, okay, I've made up my mind, I'm going to move in this direction. That's what I'm going to do. I've made up my mind. I like what I'm looking at. I don't fully understand it, but I'm ready to go do it. I'm emotionally detaching from the old so that I can invite in the new. I'm not defending it anymore. My subconscious is starting to actually accept that it's done. And then boom, boom, anything that was you were still hanging on to is about to get knocked on its butt. Everything you thought you knew and had organized is about to take a pretty good shakeup here. And then you have the structural break coming in your incoming energies. And I'm not having, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go to counseling. I'm done. And I don't want to revisit it. There's nothing here. So, wow. I'm sorry for your troubles. This is part of the human condition. We all go through it. But my poor Cappies are going through some big changes. The funny thing is though, and this is going to be for all of you, but I don't see a lot of sorrow. So I think in typical Capricorn pragmatic fashion, most of you have actually looked at this, and as sad and uncomfortable and even destabilizing as it's going to be, you are going to find your way through because there's something that you're already starting to get excited about building. There's a new build on the horizon, and there's nothing a Capricorn loves more than a new build. So that's what I got for you. Hope this helps. Like, share, and subscribe if you made it to the end, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.